10-Minute Reads presents 1984 by George Orwell.
In the dystopian future of 1984, the world is divided into three superstates: Oceania, Eurasia, and Eastasia. These superstates are constantly at war, but the real battle is not on the battlefield. It is for the minds of the people. At the center of this society is the Party, a totalitarian regime led by the enigmatic figure of Big Brother. The Party controls every aspect of life, including history, language, and even thought. Winston Smith lives in Airstrip 1, formerly known as England, part of Oceania. He works at the Ministry of Truth, one of the 4 ministries that govern the state. The Ministry of Truth is responsible for propaganda and historical revisionism, where Winston's job is to rewrite past records to fit the ever-changing narrative of the Party. In this world, the Party controls everything, even memory, with the goal of erasing any evidence that contradicts its claims. The Party's slogans are chillingly simple: war is peace, freedom is slavery, and ignorance is strength. Winston is a small, frail man struggling with the oppressive weight of Party rule. His daily existence is bleak, food is rationed, pleasure is forbidden, and every action is monitored. Posters of Big Brother cover the city, and surveillance cameras, called telescreens, watch every move. Even thoughts are controlled, as the Party employs the thought police, who can arrest anyone for even thinking rebellious ideas. This concept, called thought crime, keeps everyone in line, fearful of even their own subconscious. But Winston, despite all this, is different. Deep down, he despises the Party and its control. In secret, he begins to rebel in small, dangerous ways. His first act of defiance comes when he purchases a small, leather-bound journal from a junk shop, an object from a past era, before the Party took control. In it, he writes, "Down with Big Brother." Writing these words is an act of immense courage and risk, because if caught, it would mean torture and certain death. But this simple act of rebellion sparks something in Winston, a desire for truth and freedom. As Winston's hatred for the Party grows, so does his sense of isolation. He feels utterly alone in his rebellion, believing that everyone around him is a loyal follower of Big Brother. His colleagues, neighbors, and even children are indoctrinated from birth to worship the Party and report anyone who shows signs of disloyalty. Then, a woman named Julia enters Winston's life. Julia works in the same ministry, but is younger, bolder, and more confident. To Winston's shock, she secretly slips him a note that says, "I love you." At first, Winston is suspicious. He thinks it might be a trap set by the thought police, but his desire to connect with another person outweighs his fear. They begin a secret, passionate affair, meeting in hidden locations away from the watchful eyes of the Party. They find a small room above the junk shop where Winston bought his journal, and there they steal moments of freedom, talking about their hatred for the Party and sharing their dreams of rebellion. For Winston, Julia represents hope and the possibility of rebellion. She is unlike him in many ways. She doesn't care much about the larger political ideas or the future of society. She simply enjoys breaking the rules, finding pleasure in small acts of defiance, like having forbidden relationships or smuggling contraband. Yet, together, they find a shared desire for something more than the life the Party allows. As Winston and Julia grow closer, Winston becomes increasingly obsessed with an underground resistance group known as the Brotherhood, rumored to be led by a man named Emmanuel Goldstein, the Party's most wanted enemy. His chance comes when he meets O'Brien, a high-ranking Party official who Winston has long suspected might share his anti-Party sentiments. O'Brien invites Winston and Julia to his luxurious apartment, a place that seems beyond the reach of Party surveillance. Winston dreams of joining the Brotherhood and helping to overthrow the Party. There, O'Brien confirms Winston's suspicions. He is indeed part of the Brotherhood. O'Brien gives Winston a book, supposedly written by Goldstein, which explains the philosophy behind the Party's control. The book, The Theory and Practice of Oligarchical Collectivism, outlines how the Party maintains power through endless war, propaganda, and the manipulation of reality. According to the book, the Party's ultimate goal is not to win the wars, but to keep the population in a constant state of fear and dependence. War is used as a tool to justify the party's total control over society. As Winston reads, he begins to understand the party's true purpose. It does not seek power to create a better society or protect its citizens. It seeks power for power's sake. The party's control is absolute, and it will stop at nothing to maintain it. But just as Winston starts to believe in the possibility of rebellion, his world comes crashing down. One night, while he and Julia are in their secret hideaway, the thought police break in. It was a trap all along. O'Brien was never part of the Brotherhood. He was a loyal party member, and Winston and Julia's every move had been watched. They are arrested and taken to the Ministry of Love, where the party's most terrifying power is revealed. In the Ministry of Love, Winston is subjected to brutal interrogation and torture at the hands of O'Brien himself. The party does not simply punish its enemies, it seeks to completely break their spirit. O'Brien tells Winston that the party's goal is not just to make people obey, it is to make them truly believe. The party controls reality itself. If the party says 2 + 2 = 5, then it is true. There is no objective reality outside of what the party says. Winston resists as long as he can. He clings to his belief in truth, in the reality he knows exists outside the party's lies. But the torture breaks him, both physically and mentally. O'Brien teaches Winston the most chilling lesson. The object of power is power. The party seeks to rule not just over the bodies of its citizens, but over their minds and hearts. The final blow comes when Winston is taken to room 101, the most feared place in the Ministry of Love. In room 101, prisoners are confronted with their worst fears. For Winston, it is rats. Faced with a cage of starving rats about to be released onto his face, Winston does the unthinkable. He betrays Julia. He screams that they should do it to her instead. This betrayal marks the complete destruction of Winston's rebellion. His love for Julia, his hatred for the party, even his sense of self, all of it is wiped away. Winston is eventually released back into society, but he is no longer the same man. His spirit is broken. His thoughts are no longer his own. He spends his days in a daze, drinking Victory gin in a rundown cafe, watching propaganda on the telescreens. He no longer dreams of rebellion, no longer questions the party's lies. In the final, chilling scene, Winston gazes at a poster of Big Brother and feels an overwhelming sense of love and gratitude. He loves Big Brother. This ending reveals the terrifying power of the party, not just to control people's actions, but to reshape their very sense of reality and humanity. The party's goal is not merely to defeat its enemies, but to utterly annihilate their individuality. In the end, Winston's resistance is futile. The party has won, and Winston's mind, once a small flicker of rebellion, is now fully consumed by the power of Big Brother. 1984 is a chilling exploration of totalitarianism, the dangers of unchecked power, and the fragility of truth in a world dominated by propaganda. Orwell's novel remains a powerful warning of what can happen when governments seek to control not just the actions of their people, but their very thoughts and beliefs. At its heart, 1984 is a novel about the manipulation of reality. Orwell's vision of a world where language is stripped of meaning, where history is rewritten daily, and where surveillance reaches into the most private corners of life remains eerily relevant today. In this world, the individual is powerless against the state's ability to control not just what people do, but what they think. Orwell's warning is clear. When power becomes an end in itself, it will stop at nothing to maintain its control, even if that means erasing the very concept of truth. As the novel ends with Winston's complete submission, the reader is left to contemplate the terrifying possibility of a world where resistance is impossible and where freedom is not only suppressed, it is forgotten.